CHGO White Sox Podcast, coming to you live on this Sunnyside Summer Thursday. This is the CHGO White Sox Podcast. Head to sunnyside.shop or the nearest Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary and use code HICHGO for 35% off your first order. Bright buys every day, only for 21 plus or Illinois medical card holders. I'm your host, Sean Anderson. Alongside me, the full CHGO White Sox crew. That is Vinnie Duber. You can follow him at Vinnie Duber and read his work up at allchgo.com. The man in the middle is Herb Lawrence.
Hello.
You can follow him at Ecknerwall23. He's our CHGO White Sox community leader. And producing us today, like always, is Sarah.
Hi.
Hello. And shout out to Missy Carroll, who filled in for me yesterday as the White Sox won, right?
Hilarious.
Okay. 8-game losing streak for the White Sox. Their second 7-game losing streak on the year. We'll talk about Pedro Grifol and the temperature of his hot seat. Maybe it's a cool seat. No one ever talks about cool seats.
No,
it's always the hot seat.
A comfortable seat.
Mild seat.
Yeah.
We'll see.
A cool seat would not be good either.
A cold seat would be bad.
Ugh.
In the summer,
Why?
a cool seat would be nice. Cold, bad, cool, nice. That's what I'd
cool
say.
means that you have a safe job, no? That you're frozen in time?
I think Herb's referring to sitting on something that is cold.
I'd rather sit on something cold than hot.
Depends on the temperature outside.
Yeah.
Anyways, thanks for hanging out with us. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button. Make sure you're throwing comments into the comment section as well. Make sure you subscribe to the CHGO Sports YouTube channel. We also do have a Die Hard program. If you want to level up your fandom, you get percentage off events that we have. We just threw a great takeover on Monday.
That was great.
Yeah, it was real
It was
fun.
great to see everybody out there.
It was good to see you.
Yeah, hey, I was
stepped
able to make
down.
an appearance.
Yeah, and you're not sunburned.
No, well, because I was only down there for 2 innings instead of the whole game. If
Yeah,
I
you
was
were
down there
learning.
the whole game, I'd be red as a beet.
Oh, we're glad to see that you're not. But yeah, if you do want to become a diehard, check that out at allchgo.com. Pedro Grifol is going to be of discussion. Noah Schultz is going to be of discussion. Bryan Ramos being sent down to AAA is going to be of discussion. And then our diehards, they do have access to our Discord channel, and they were able to send in some questions. We'll wrap up the show with those today. How are you guys? What did I miss? Are we glad that the White Sox didn't get shut out? I saw that they were likely going to get shut out, and I was surprised to see a run. So,
Do you know how they
progress.
scored it?
No.
Corey Lee solo home run.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
All-star, baby.
Who Missy Carroll was in for you, so that transfers over to you. So I think you and I think Will the Scout are tied this week for Click to Pick. So it's good to have Missy Carroll picking the real people and Corey Lee. Hey, I got to apologize to John Triffin. I meant the star.
Is he a star?
He's a star.
Bona fide
At least
star?
a starter for
okay.
the foreseeable future, because every time he gives you a good at bat out there, and he didn't allow the White Sox to be shut out last night.
Any more Corey Lee love in the clubhouse that I should be aware of?
In the clubhouse, I mean, they're happy with him, I would imagine. He's cooled off a bit, though, if you've noticed. Those numbers are not necessarily as on fire as they were earlier in the year. Gavin Sheets, same way, so I'm not trying to throw cold water, but Corey Lee is obviously impressed, and he should continue to get the amount of playing time that he deserves.
I mean, outside of leadoff hitter Corey Julks, did I say that right?
You did.
You
You don't even have to
It's
think about it
natural now.
anymore.
Yeah, it is natural now. Corey Lee has the best batting average, I think, on base percentage. Gavin has a little bit higher, but also slugging percentage. So, all-star campaign, make sure you're punching out those ballots. Do they still have those on the
No.
concourse? What a shame. That's what real
Those were
America
fun
was.
back in the day.
Yeah, they were.
I could just spend
Grab like
hours.
5 of them.
Yeah, but no one ever brought a pen to the ballpark.
No.
You know, like if you were there with your parents, your mom might have had a pen in her purse, but there was no, you know, if you went like with your buddies or something like that, like you're like trying to like tear them out with your bare hands kind of thing.
I would just do the very unsanitary thing, because you just pick it out of a big-ass pile of other ballots and just kind of moisten or lick the
Her.
person you need to get
Her.
out. Yes.
That's gross.
And then, because I didn't have a pen and I didn't have keys at the time. And so it just punch out the hole there.
Maybe you just don't fill out an all-star ballot.
Hey, man.
You have to.
man.
It's your duty as an American.
I'm about to say, how else would you get people to the All-Star game?
Register to vote, people. Hit that thumbs up button, too. Let's talk a little bit about Pedro Grifol. 15-42 for the White Sox. Has to be the worst start in whatever amount of games in White Sox history.
It is.
Yeah, I don't think it's gotten better since I heard that stat.
Well, it's getting worse, right? So they were like neck and neck with whatever the previous one was. Now they're kind of giving some distance here between the previous worst team or the previous worst start rather, and where they are now. So now they have some ground to make up to avoid being the worst team in franchise history.
And like our last off-day show, we talked about that 39-game stretch. They have one win so far in that 39-game stretch, so it's only going to get easier from here. You're only going to end that 39-game stretch by playing the Dodgers, so, hey, should be fine in a couple of games. How is Pedro doing? Obviously, it was a weird week, or started off as a weird week with his effing flat comments on Sunday. Then we heard some pushback from the clubhouse. He doubled down, and then they've, in my opinion, have been fairly flat over the next 3 games since that call out. So is he still, coming out hot after these losses? Is he cooled down a little bit?
No, he's not coming out hot. Perhaps they haven't given really him anything to come out hot about, good or bad. But listen, he admitted that last year was very hard on him, and he didn't, it didn't go very well, obviously, from a win-loss standpoint, but from his personal, enjoyment of the job, it was hard to enjoy the job when the results were what they were, particularly early in the season last year when they had that real bad April. Well, this year was worse in terms of wins and losses, and you're seeing some of the same, emotion and reaction that we saw a lot last year. He comes out after a loss where they don't do very much, and he's not happy. I wouldn't necessarily describe him as angry like you would have on Sunday, but routinely displeased, obviously, with the way things are going. So I would have to imagine that though he said he was going to react to things in a little bit different way, maybe and try to enjoy himself a little bit more this year, coming into this year. Certainly the way things have gone have probably made that difficult. I go back to exactly what he laid out in the beginning of the season that he wanted this team to look like. They haven't really looked like that, and so I can't imagine he's feeling that many or any of those goals have been fulfilled to this point.
It's sad circumstances right now for the team, and as I was talking to you last night, Vinny, it was like, they lost Alek Manoah in the second inning, and then the Blue Jays relievers just shut the White Sox down into the 9th inning home run by Corey Lee. And so if you're talking about flat, and if you're going to have that type of reaction on Sunday, and I know it's not the results based, but those at-bats from inning 2 on just looked, hey, let's get this stuff over. And it's May. Like, I know that losing on top of losing on top of losing when you're 15-42, it's getting monotonous, and so you as the player can get, apathetic about losing, but those at-bats were just, ugh. And there was nobody in there that was, you should be struggling against. That Richards pitcher was fine, but they couldn't see him at all. And so if you're going to get mad on Sunday about being flat, last night was very flat for the team, and they're not facing as good as a pitcher as they faced on Sunday.
Well, and two, you get Manoah out. I mean, Manoah leaves the game because of an injury, so you should be able to capitalize on a guy who's wasn't expecting to pitch.
Sucks for Manoah, too, because it said his elbow discomfort. Never good.
No, never good. Mike Clevenger, elbow discomfort?
He has fluid in the bottom of his elbow,
Probably
if you'll remember.
Uncomfortable. That's all I'm saying.
Certainly when you're pitching.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think you would rather have a hot seat than fluid in his elbow.
Would you rather have a hot seat or fluid in the elbow?
Oh, the fluid in the elbow just sounds disgusting. Just like, just
you think
slugging
you can
around back there.
Hear it sloshing? Do you think?
You can't even put your elbow down. It just like moves and stuff. Like, ugh.
Is it like, bulging? Like, is it just like
that's gross?
Yeah, okay, I will stop. So is a way to put cool water on the hot seat that you might be on if you're Pedro Grifol, is it to ass kiss the owner by saying no one wants to win more than Jerry Reinsdorf? These are my words. The ass kiss.
Boy, so do I know it. Yeah.
Obviously, use your own words to describe this, but it seems weird when you're talking to the Sun-Times and you're like, oh, nobody wants to win more than Jerry Reinsdorf because
I don't think it's weird at all. What are you going to say about your boss, right?
I mean, I guess just with the timing, everyone's talking about, hey, with you being 15-42, it seems like a guy who's going to get fired, especially with the comments of the effing flat, and then maybe the team's like, I don't know about that, Chief. Like, is this getting to a point where Pedro Grifol might feel his back against a wall, and he's trying to reach out to the guy that has the true control of his fate?
No, I think these are two separate topics. I think people reacted the way they did to the interview that Pedro did with Daryl, and the comments that Daryl published from that interview, praising Jerry Reinsdorf and talking about his competitiveness and all of that. People reacted to that the way that they did because they don't like Jerry Reinsdorf. I think that's pretty obvious that the reaction was that for that reason. People can define competitive however they want. I don't think there's really much doubt that he wants to win. You can put an asterisk by that in terms of maybe he wants to win in his way, maybe he wants to win under certain circumstances, but he's going to the game every night hoping that his team wins, just like any fan would, right? So I think that phrase gets blown out of proportion because people are mad at the owner, and on top of it, people are mad at the person who said it at the same time. And so I think that's its own thing. People reacted, whatever. The other question I think is worth talking about Pedro's job status. And you ask, is his seat hot? Yeah, because he's the manager of a team that's off to the worst start in franchise history. He's the manager of a team that cannot hit. He's the manager of a team that has lost nearly 3 times as many games as it's won so far this season. In Major League Baseball or the NFL, the NBA, the NHL, whatever professional sport you're talking about, and even college sports, when the results are like that, you're on the hot seat, no doubt about it. We talked about it all last year and probably the year prior with Rick Hahn, right? Listen, you're in charge of what has become a mess. And so you are a team that is not doing anything near what it's supposed to do. Obviously, your job status is going to be a topic of conversation and might even be in jeopardy. And we saw that it very much was in jeopardy because he was fired. Pedro Grifol, I think you can say the exact same thing for the exact same reasons right now. Now, if you want to talk about is there any reality to the thought that he might lose his job, I would couch it pretty much all in what I just said. I don't think Pedro Grifol being around after a 3-22 start, why does a 14-42 start change his fate, right? I mean, I think we've talked in the past about how the decisions the White Sox have made to get rid of players who are still under contract, Dallas Keuchel comes to mind, right, was a rarity, was going against the way things usually happen, right? Paying people to not work is not usually what an owner of a professional sports team wants to do. And so with their manager being under contract, why would you want to pay somebody who's not going to be doing anything for you? I don't think that the expectations this year also carry any indication of you are not doing what you were supposed to do, right? I mean, nobody involved with the White Sox wants them to have the record they want to have, but is it overly surprising given what the preseason expectations were that they're a last-place team, right? That they are not contending for a playoff spot right now? I don't think so. And I think to say, Pedro, you have to lose your job because you're not doing what you were supposed to do, my retort, if I were him, would be, what was I supposed to do, right? I don't think that's how he's looking at it, but that's what I would say, right? So all of that makes me think that Pedro is not going anywhere, with the exception of, boy, they sure are losing a lot. And in professional sports, when you lose a lot, your job is on the line. And I think that Pedro probably understands that reality. We heard Rick Hahn understand that reality through the last couple of years of his tenure. I don't think that should come as a surprise to anybody, and therefore hot seat talk, if you want to call it that, is probably warranted because this team has 14 wins and we're almost into the third month of the season.
I would say that the two that you brought up, the two scenarios that you brought up, kind of go hand in hand. If the White Sox are supposed to be bad, that's understandable. None of us really thought they would be good, but I think we all picked them to be closer to 500 or over 500 than what they are right now. They've won, 26% of their games this year, so I think there has to be some type of consequences and repercussions for being bad. Is this Pedro's fault? All of this fault? No, of course it's not. The talent's not there. No one has any good, really hitters on this team that, we're shouting out Corey Lee. Ultimately, he's probably a backup catcher. Like, who's gotten better under Pedro's stead? That's what I'm saying. Like, Andrew Vaughn's worse of a player. And this is not Pedro's fault, but these are the realities. Benintendi's a worse player. All these players that Eloy Jimenez, a worse player. Go down the line.
And you say it's not his fault, but that's what he was hired to do.
Yeah.
When he sat there with Rick Hahn at his introductory press conference, the idea was this staff, Pedro and this coaching staff, which has been pretty well made over in just 1 year, right, were hired to take that group of players and make them better.
Robert had his best year.
That's true.
So, I don't know.
He's worse now.
Well, he's hurt.
Yeah. He is hurt, but I'm saying, like, he doesn't really...
Did you see that homer in Charlotte? Went to the second deck.
Man, that was so great. It was such a pop-up. But, like, they've had 5 100-loss seasons in their history. Pedro's had one of them last year. Ricky Renteria had one in his second year of rebuilding.
I've had 2.
You've had two
Not to be 3.
Like, it was 1932 with Luke Fonseca in his first season, had a 100-loss season. Ted Lyons, the guy who's got his number retired as being a great White Sox pitcher, he had to resign after the year because he was so bad after he played baseball. It was his second year playing. Resigned. And then the other one was Don Gutteridge was let out of his contract because he had 100 losses. This team has a precedent of if you lose 100 games, hey, man, the seat should be hot. Not only hot, but we're going to fire you and or let you out of your contract immediately. So they've only had 5 in their history, and Pedro's going to have 2 of them consecutively to start his career off where he shouldn't have last year. This year is understandable. Last year, they should have never been close to 100 losses.
We'll have a Celsius degree, okay? So I want you to put
Celsius?
it 0 to 100 because it's easier.
Oh,
it's easier.
I'm like, how hot is something in Celsius?
No, 100.
So zero is freezing, 100 is boiling. All right, so like 100 to 0, and think of it more of maybe a test, right? You get a 100 out of 100, right?
We're Americans.
That'd be hot. I know we're Americans, but like,
confusing
okay,
me now.
All right, fine.
With you.
No, from 0 to 100 on the Fahrenheit scale, a hot day.
Yeah,
would be you make that
this
seat
makes
hot.
way more sense to me.
All right,
yeah.
it would make that seat real hot. Huh?
Right.
That sun would just bake that
Correct.
seat. Your bum would be hot.
Correct.
And then if it's freezing, it's 0 degrees, it would be a chilly seat. So think of that.
Stick to it
on 0 to 100 Fahrenheit. On what Pedro's actual temperature is, but the biggest thing. Joe Cowley reported this on the 9th of April. A source recently said that Reinsdorf, who is also chairman of the White Sox, knew that manager Pedro Grifol had put in a fireable season by midsummer of 2023. Didn't even get to 100 wins and thought it was already fireable. But he wanted to wait at least a year so the dead money wasn't as big as of a hit. So if they get to midseason of this year, maybe that dead money is enough to eat. But I would put this at 75 out of 100 for me, Fahrenheit, because I think it's obviously bad. We can all say that it's bad. A record like this where you have 76 wins and like 143 losses obviously is not good. But at the end of the day, it's a business decision because this is a business being run, not a sports team in a video game. And unfortunately, the budgets are turned on. And man, do they pay more attention to the budgets than the players on the field. So I would say 75 out of 100.
85 for me.
Okay, so a little hotter. You think the 100 losses are a little more serious?
I don't think Pedro's going to end the year as the White Sox manager, whether it's his or the White Sox doing.
I don't think it's quite as hot as Herb's saying, but I'd probably put it right around what you said. Sean, I'd probably
Would you
say,
go 80? He went 85. I went 75.
I don't know. I don't know. Again, I think the idea would be when you lose this much, getting fired is not shocking. And so if we saw him get fired, that wouldn't shock me. But I think everything you said makes total sense too. And I think I bring up, what was the expectation? He is not wildly underperforming in a year where they thought they were going to be doing something. He did that last year. Mm-hmm. The team did that last year. But right now, they're rebuilding. And why would you punish someone's job when all they're doing is helming a ship that somebody else is steering,
If this was his first year, I don't think we're having this conversation.
No, I agree.
Because, again, the expectations weren't high. The biggest cry on his resume is last year, and the fact that it took him like literally over 200 games to say any comment like the effing flat thing. Again, if he said this in May, I think I would have had, or at least the clubhouse might have had a different reaction than what they did have. Let's take a break. We will let you know about some of our sponsors, and then we will talk about Bryan Ramos and Noah Schultz. We want to let you know, though, the easiest way to get into a Sox game, to get into any event, whether it be concert, comedy, maybe you want to go to the theater. I mean, maybe you're a very well-cultured person.
Acting!
Maybe you want to go see Eddie Izzard's solo play of Hamlet.
Acting!
Game Time is an authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball, which means getting tickets faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down closer it gets to first pitch or curtains up, because acting, with killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, and views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee. Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets, and Herb's favorite part of Game Time is the Game Time guarantee. If you find tickets that are in the same row and section that you are in, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference if you're able to find a better price on the seats that you bought. Herb reached out to Game Time support, and within 12 minutes, he got the Game Time guarantee. So they are willing to help you and make sure that you are getting the best deal possible. They also have last-minute deals. You could save up to 60% off buying last minute for sports, concerts, comedy, and the theater. So take the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHGO for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code, and spell it out, CHGO for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. And you know what you drink at a ball game?
Water.
Yeah, water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I drink at the ball game. Yeah, but I'm working.
No.
If you go to a ball game, you won't be working.
True.
So you can have a beer. You can have a summer shandy. It's after Memorial Day now, so it is officially summer. And there's no better way to spend your summer than just guzzling summer shandy. That's what I do when I'm not at the ball game. They've got lemonade. They've got beer. They smashed them together, did the fine folks at Line & Kugel's, and they made a delicious, delicious beverage that you can enjoy all summer long. Go over by the lake. Have a picnic. Bring some summer shandy. Go down to the rate. Have a tailgate. Bring some summer shandy. You can even go up to Wisconsin if you're going to hop in a canoe, paddle around a lake or something. You know what you need in the back to kind of create, a weight balance? Whole case of summer shandy. The empties do it as well. So, listen, they innovate a lot of great stuff up there. I'm not sure anything's better than summer shandy, but boy, is there a variety to choose from. You can go with the Honey Vice that's made by real Wisconsin bees. You can have yourself a Lakeside Cherry. You can have yourself a Sunset Wheat. Have yourself a Liney's Original. Have yourself a Berry Vice. Never going to give you up with that Berry Vice.
I don't get that reference.
Well, Berry White.
Oh.
Yeah. Sang the song.
Whenever you say that, I think Rick Astley.
No.
Never gonna give you up.
No. Never gonna give you up. No, that's what I'm going with.
Okay.
Yeah. So there you go. Guys.
That was pretty good, Barry White.
Thank you, Herb. Flavor of Life
Thought it
Simple
was at the
Moments.
seat over there.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Flavor of Life Simple Moments with Line & Kugel's, the official craft beer of the Chicago White Sox. Go to liney.com/CHGO to find delivery options near you. That's LEINIE.com/CHGO, or pick up Line & Kugel's pretty much anywhere they sell beer. Line & Kugel's, flavor of the moment. Celebrate responsibly. The Jacob Line & Kugel Brewing Company, Chippewa Falls.
Yes. And I screwed up. I'll be right back.
Uh-oh.
You go.
Sean is running to get some glasses right now.
Oh, wait, are those my real glasses?
Oh, my God.
What is happening? Yeah, you're about to spill water.
Oh.
So close.
All right, there we go. Okay. I didn't forget. These are my actual Shady Rays, and I've been looking
You just
for
left them up there?
You donated them to the set?
I didn't mean to.
Oh.
I've been blinded for
the
the
light?
past
Manfred
by the
Mann?
light.
Bruce
Bruce
Springsteen.
Springsteen.
There you
Sorry,
go.
wrote it originally, so we're gonna, obviously give out
How
a
dare
shout out
you,
to the
Herb.
boss. But the future is so bright. I gotta wear shades, and let's pull out one of our rose-colored glasses and explain to the people why the future is bright for the CHGO White Sox. Don't listen to Michael in the chat, okay? The name's fine. It's been around for 120 years, okay? This is brought to you by Shady Rays. Head to shadyrays.com and use code CHGO at checkout, or to get 35% off polarized shades. Fantastic shades, by the way. I have missed them when I was driving. I've been using some promo Barbie sunglasses that my wife got, and they're not polarized.
No?
And there's a difference, friends, especially
Sun
when
is
you're
just
driving.
in your face.
And you know what else is in your face, especially when you're a left-handed batter? all 6'7" of Noah Schultz when he's on the mound, 6 feet and 6 inches away. Probably feels like, he's 52 feet away with the extension and the length.
It's like watching like an old 3D movie, like you'd go to Disney World and they'd have the 3D and it's like, it's coming at you. Like that's probably what it looks like.
Do you remember your first 3D movie? I do.
Well, so you were a young kid when 3D came back.
Yeah.
So when I was a little kid, you had to go to like a theme park to see a 3D movie. So I saw Muppet Vision 3D at Disney World, obviously. Yeah.
I think I've seen one, but it wasn't memorable. It was probably Jurassic Park and 3D, IMAX, things like that back in the day. But I was never a big-time 3D guy.
There's a reason it's gone.
Yeah. Mine was Spy Kids 3D, The Game Is Over.
Oh, that's a good one. Mine was Shark Boy and Lava Girl.
Ugh, that sounds terrible.
Oh, have you guys never seen that?
It's a classic.
That's a great movie.
Josh Hutcherson?
Some of the the Twilight dude. Taylor Lautner.
Oh, Taylor Lautner.
Yeah.
Wow, sounds like a real pillar of American cinema,
That
Sarah.
sounds terrible.
No, George
It's so good.
George Lopez is in it as Mr. Electric. It's a
Yeah.
very
not selling that movie.
No.
Some of the best
You're not
CGI
selling it.
you'll ever see.
Okay, well, let's sell people on Noah Schultz. This one's a lot easier of a sell. After a fantastic 7 games in Advanced Day for the Winston-Salem Dash, Noah Schultz was moved up to Birmingham, and in his first start, he went 4 innings, allowed 1 hit, and I think it barely reached the outfield. It went and sneaked through the infield for a hit, no walks, and 5 strikeouts. Noah Schultz, no matter whether it's at Advanced A or AA, the 20-year-old is looking like a professional. And I guess
He is a professional.
Well, true. He is a professional, but I think maybe a major leaguer, right? Maybe I think he's even willing or ready to take that step up. There's a strict pitch limit on him, and I know the White Sox said probably around 75 to 90 innings. Is the future so bright that it's blinding me and maybe taking me away from the actual development needed for Noah Schultz? To me, maybe I have sun poisoning at this point, to think that if he's got 75 to 90 innings, he's already got a pretty decent chunk of that eaten up. Should he be throwing major league innings at this point? Can he be our Juan Soto of pitching?
I think the Barbie sunglasses made their way into Sean's brain.
Lead poisoning. Yeah.
No. I think the whole idea is that they want to take their time with this guy. That's why he's being slow-rolled so much. Remember, we heard the plan at the beginning of the year, and we saw it down at High A, was to not start him every 5 days, but every 7, right? They only were pitching him once a week. They're going to go slow with this guy, and I think that makes all the sense in the world. He was a high school kid. He doesn't have the same amount of experience as some of the other guys who are down in the minor leagues. But, boy, has he been impressive and fantastic. Like, I don't think that should take away anything from the fact that maybe we will see him next year and soon, because he has been that good. But to bring him up to the major leagues right now when he has been in AA for all of, a week? Like, that's
a game.
Yeah, that's not very realistic. I get what you're saying in terms of he's dominating the competition wherever he goes, right? But give him time to dominate the competition. Let him get the experience that he needs. There are people at every level coaching these guys for a reason, right? It's if he is a very, very highly thought of prospect, seems to deserve it with what he's been able to do, and there's been nothing but rave reviews. But from the few health issues that he had last year to just the fact that he just doesn't have that innings base, I mean, it's been fun to see Sean swing wildly from how in the world could Garrett Crochet be a major league pitcher with how few innings he's thrown to Noah Schultz, throw him in the rotation right now. Who cares?
Different people, especially because he's on that Saturday schedule. He's got a true schedule to stick to. Garrett, I don't know what the hell is going on.
Either way, because this year is so experimental and so trying out new things to see if those things stick, I would love the White Sox to do things in an unconventional fashion. Yes, I think Noah Schultz could probably come up here and do well in the major leagues, but also the problem is, what if he does poorly? Would that crush a 20-year-old's confidence where, he's gradually building up to, okay, I'm killing A, I'm killing AA. And if I keep on killing AA, let me stair-step my way up to the major leagues instead of, hey, you killed both of those things and, that one start in AA, Here's real professional grown-ass men who are going to be attacking your fastball, not like those children you've been facing. So it could be shell-shocking, and he can never recover. I mean, we look at what Andrew Vaughn did, and he had a whole college career And then they brought him up after single A because of the year that he had to sit out for the pandemic. And he looked the part. But now we're seeing the development wasn't complete. And the player that is showing you today is not the player that he should have been. So that's what I don't want from Noah Schultz. Am I for him? If the White Sox bring Noah Schultz or any of these young players up, would I be up in arms? No, it'll be great for this team to do what they need to do to see if these guys are good. This is why we'll talk about Bryan Ramos in a second. But Noah Schultz, I think, needs to be stair-stepped up, and I like how the White Sox are treating him as a special unicorn. You're pitching on Saturday, you have an innings limit, and that's it. Once it hits, you're done, kid. And if I know what you're saying, if you have an innings limit, why don't you have him the innings limit at the highest level and learn from that? I just don't want him to falter and then you lose that great player potential just because his confidence is gone. As we see, confidence in MLB and most major league game or most professional sports is key.
Here's the thing. I get it, and all that's fine and dandy and yada yada yada. Don't rush people, yada yada yada. You guys are thinking with maybe foresight. I'm thinking right now. I'm thinking completely blinded. This guy has 13.8 K per nine and a under 3 walk per nine. There's no issues. It's not like the guy has control issues. Everyone, in whether it be advanced A or double A, is swinging at a guy who didn't pitch in college.
Correct.
Like, this guy seems completely different on that crochet level where because of the angle, because of the size, because of the velocity, he seems impossible to hit. I was listening to Future Sox on Sunday, and Ian and James were talking about the certain view from Birmingham, and you could just see just how, truly impossible it is to hit Noah Schultz. Just the way that slider moves, especially from that angle, it looks video game-esque. The guy's hitting the zone. See what happens when he's hitting the zone at a major league level, in my opinion. He's at 27 innings pitched right now. He has 85 strikeouts to 13 walks in 58 innings pitched. Like, this kid, truly, he's 20 years old, has been perfect so far, and it would be aggressive, but this team, again, can take some shots. So maybe I should reframe this to, if after the trade deadline, Noah Schultz gets 1 or 2 starts for the Chicago White Sox, I won't be upset. If he's a starter for the 2025 White Sox, I'd be over the moon. Ian, in our Discord, our diehard Discord, said, on Schultz in particular, very interesting that they're backing up with another starter to keep a 5-man rotation in Birmingham. We saw Jairo Iriarte throw 5 innings behind him. I believe Drew Thorpe is next on Saturday to follow Noah. Asked on here, but for the wider audience, even if on a innings limit, if by September he feels great, should he do 1 or 2 innings at the big club? Again, I'm all for, if he's at 70 innings, have that last start be at the major league level. Why not? Add him to the 40-man. Let's go. He's 20 years old and looks untouchable. And again, he didn't play in college. He's learning at a professional level, and there's no hiccups. I think we have a Hall of Famer on our hands, and I know that's probably a little bit too early to say, but it's true. He's throwing a four-seam fastball that's unhittable. He's throwing a sinker that's unhittable at the bottom of the zone. He's got a crazy slider that's unhittable, and I think he also has a changeup. What are we doing? He's not having any challenges or road bumps. I would say just continue to be aggressive.
Just got to double A.
Yeah.
Literally has pitched there one time.
And one guy got a hit off of him.
That's great.
I know.
That's great. But, the baseball, they tend to want you to go back out there again and again and do that over and over again. So let's see if he does that, and then we'll have the conversation about AAA, and then we'll have the conversation about the major leagues.
One swinging strike, so maybe I'll cool down. One swinging strike in AA over 4 innings. So maybe that's where the cool water is getting thrown on me.
I'm not disagreeing with you, Sean, but yeah, I think you're also way over your skis right now. You hadn't faced the Montgomery Biscuits yet, man.
Yeah, the future's he only faced the Biloxi Shuckers.
Yeah.
The future's so bright it's blinding me. Okay, I'll take off the shades. I guess.
Future's so bright it's giving Sean heat stroke.
Yeah, they're going in my head.
As the saying goes.
The way that the future's getting cooled off a little bit, Bryan Ramos sent to AAA Charlotte. I don't think we have the corresponding roster
coming tomorrow.
Move. Yeah, he'll be coming tomorrow. Do we have any thoughts? Lenine Sosa, I guess, is still in the 40-man.
Could it be Luis Robert Jr.?
It could be.
Could he just I'm good.
They've got plenty of infielders. Yeah.
I think they have plenty of outfilders, too.
They've got a lot of.
They've got Zach Remillard, got Danny Mendick.
Mendick will just move over to third base on a regular basis, and Remillard will be the backup.
Okay. All right. So maybe we see Luis finally. Because, again, that's a guy also, like Noah Schultz, that doesn't need to be facing minor league baseball. I
That's
think
true.
Luis Robert Jr., after we've seen 2 home runs from him, is fine and is seeing the baseball well. So Ramos, is this concerning for anybody? Does this make sense? Because even him being called up to Major League Baseball was a little bit surprising.
If it's Luis Robert Jr. coming back, it's not concerning at all. Fine. But if it is another infielder, like, who are they having play third base every day? Danny Mendick?
Yes.
I would rather have Bryan Ramos take those at-bats instead of Danny Mendick. But if that's who they're playing and they don't want to have Bryan Ramos up here getting sporadic at-bats in the major leagues, and they say, hey, man, you haven't even been to AAA yet. Get all the at-bats you can down there in AAA. It's a bandbox. Do yourself a favor and us a favor by playing every day. Cool, I'm fine with that. But if it's like somebody else who's a middle infielder that's getting a job for the White Sox, I'm like, I don't really like the fact that you're having this young player go down to the minors, so you're giving at bats to Danny Mendick, which is fine. But I think that you could be giving those bats to Bryan Ramos being the starter and Danny Mendick being the plug-in guy type of thing.
So Bryan Ramos was not sent down so they could play Danny Mendick more.
Correct.
Bryan Ramos was sent down because he has 9 hits in his entire major league career. He's played 15 games, I believe. Obviously, that was split up by some time on the injured list, but he started off very impressive. He has been not impressive at the plate for some time, at least in the results department. Pedro, whether it was yesterday or the day before, I'm not quite exactly sure, but still complimented kind of the way he's been approaching, batting and the way that he's been going about his business and that kind of thing. So I'm sure that they're not displeased with him in general, but like you just said, he'd never been to AAA. He came up here basically because he was on the 40-man and stuck around for a while because he was having success. Now, as Major League Baseball tends to do, they adjusted to him. They figured it out, and he has been basically rolling the ball over, to third base the majority of the time, certainly since he's come back from the injured list. He had no hits since he's come back from the injured list. So he was a guy who was really struggling, who was not necessarily here on that, if you were to say linear development plan, as you know, not linear famously, but the idea is he'll go down to AAA, he'll get the regular at-bats that he would have gotten had he stayed here, but he'll do it in a place where the focus can be a little bit more on his development. I know they were very happy with Bryan Ramos, but it obviously wasn't working. Continue the development in the way that maybe it was supposed to go before this little cameo at the major league level, because he's, as Pedro keeps saying, he's a big part of their future.
So you're saying he's going back and forth?
Is that a cameo song?
It is.
Okay.
I only know Word Up.
I was going to do Candy or Word Up, but I don't think you guys would get the Word Up one.
I would be talking out of the side of my mouth, because that's neck, right?
Yes.
Yeah. No? Okay. All right. Yeah, I think the biggest thing that just hurts Ramos is that failed hit and run that he ends up getting injured on. I wonder what his true progression would look like if there wasn't that hiccup where he gets sent down to Charlotte. He doesn't have that break. I wonder if maybe he's able to continue, because his first couple of numbers when he missed that sign for the hit and run and then got injured, we're looking all right. So I do wonder how much that truly affected Ramos. Again, I'm fine with it because I was pretty surprised that he was even up at the major league level to start with. I thought that was aggressive, and it didn't seem like he earned it in a way that I think Noah Schultz maybe has. And obviously Noah Schultz has time to cool off, but maybe Bryan Ramos can go hit 500 or whatever he hit down in AAA. I think he had 2 games,
on his
had
rehab
2 hits
assignment.
and 2 walks. So yeah, he seemed to be liking AAA hitting. So if him and Colson Montgomery have some fun in Charlotte, I'm cool with it. And especially if it's for Luis Robert, I'm cool with it because it makes sense why that guy is being added to the Major League roster. Let's take a break, and we'll let you know about our friends over at Sunnyside and some events that we have coming up with CHGO. We want to let you know, though, that our friends at Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary are here to elevate your summer. Sunnyside is your home for judgment-free cannabis shopping. They have a crazy selection with over 100 different strains to choose from, with easy online ordering and in-store pickup. Whether you are in Illinois, Sunnyside, or wherever you are, I should be able to read. Wherever you are in Illinois, Sunnyside has a location for you. They have spots as far south as Champaign and as far north as South Beloit, getting up to that Leinenkugel border up there. And you could stop in to the nearest store near you for expert guidance from their staff or select from high-quality lines like Cresco or Floracal. I am going to go pick up some Simply Herb coming up because I love my man Herb, right? He's simply himself, and it's a good brand for bang for your buck over at Sunnyside. And you can, too, by heading over to sunnyside.shop and use code HICHGO. That's HICHGO. HICHGO at checkout for 35% off brands like Cresco, Good News, and more to elevate your first purchase. Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary, bright buys every day, only for 21 plus or Illinois medical card holders.
Head on over to ALLCITY.com to learn more about our free Cubs Friday 120 Club, our Cubs and Sox takeovers, and our golf tournaments and more. Speaking about the Cubs crossover event, it's Cubs Sox on this Tuesday, the 4th of June. Don't let the Cub fans in our section outnumber us at Wrigley Field. We're already going to be outnumbered by the most of the stadium. Get your tickets right now, White Sox fans, for the crossover event. We're going to Wrigley. We're going to be taking over that event and cheering for our White Sox to win those games. Because, if they win those 2 games, the season's set. It's a great season. Pedro stays forever. But we need you there. We need you there for me and Sean's sake, so we're in a good atmosphere. Because last year, it was just me and Sean and a bunch of Cub fans when Christopher Ramos hit that walk-off home run.
Or Christopher Morel.
Sorry, I said Ramos. Who am I thinking of?
Bryan Ramos.
Young third baseman.
Christopher Morel, of course, one of the greatest players in baseball and the face of Chicago. Also, we have the CHGO Cookout Classic on July 22nd. It's our golf outing this year. We have 2 actually this year, with all of us host and staff in attendance. Got some special guests also. I've heard some people maybe be showing up. Can't say the name specifically, but some celebrities might be showing up. So
Justin Timberlake?
Oh my God, I don't want him to show up.
What are you talking about?
Huh?
I don't even know what you're talking about.
I can't say the name yet because it's not confirmed. But there's some people in the works.
The lead singer of Cameo.
Dua Lipa will
you know
be
who
there?
that
Is that what I heard?
It's Larry Blackman, Sean.
Larry Blackman's going to be there?
Larry Blackman will not be there. Ow. We have podcasts and live shows every day, post-game shows, premium written content from guys like Vinnie Duber on AllCHGO.com, 20% off all events. So this Club's takeover, you get 20% off all events if you are a diehard. So go to AllCHGO.com right now and become a diehard because you get a free T-shirt also in this box that's right in front of me, this black box in front of me. Everybody gets a box when they become a diehard. No one got that one? Anybody? Black box? Everybody? Never mind. You guys
The thing on an airplane?
You guys are young. And we have our members-only Discord. Like the next segment we're going to do, it's when our Discord people ask us questions on our off-day show. So, Sean, let's get to it.
I do not know the Italian house music group Black Box from 1990.
Oh, you know the song Everybody, Everybody, though.
That sounds bad.
I don't at all.
Everybody.
Do we have the rights to play that song?
It's pretty much that.
I don't even know what he's talking about.
Okay.
Luke knows
neither
that
do I.
song.
Who does?
We probably
Luke
don't have the
Stuckmeyer. He's
rights.
old like me.
Where is he?
It was over there. Everybody by Black Box.
He doesn't know.
That was
Dead-
Crickets, Herb.
Oh my
Dead
god.
That was
silence.
Oh my God.
Yeah, well, you are old, Luke Stuckmeyer. Don't worry. You can join our
Middle
diehard
aged.
program over at allchgo.com. And if you do want to join the Discord or get percentage off to the events that we have thrown, you get 20% off if you are a diehard. So go sign up today at allchgo.com. Let's get into Will's question. Will's competing right now, right, with the Discord.
You and him
competition?
are tied right now.
All right, Will, we're coming after you. Will says, I'm sure you're as tired as we are of seeing Maldonado over Lee in the lineup. Pedro has stated multiple times that this is his intention despite the clearly awful results. So is Corey Lee the guy now, or is it just, is Martin Maldonado going to be put out to pasture soon? Is Max Stassi alive?
I have no update on Max Stassi. I'm regret to say that I have no update on Max Stassi.
I guess Will's question was, at what point does Getz have the power to step in and overrule Pedro and force the lineup to be constructed his way, using his power as GM?
Well, I think that would assume that he has no input as it is. I mean, the GM and the manager talk all the time, and obviously the front office put this team together. They, if you're talking about where certain guys are batting in the lineup, maybe there'd be a disagreement there. Not saying there is, but that's realistic, I suppose. Chris Getz is the one who signed Martin Maldonado to a contract to be this team's number one catcher. So I don't think that this is any sort of thing that the GM is not already given approval on. Martin Maldonado is here. He's the catcher. He's the guy they signed. Corey Lee is getting more and more playing time, and you've seen him get more and more playing time as a DH since Eloy Jimenez has gone on the injured list, and Eloy Jimenez is going to be on the injured list for another month, so you could see more scenarios like you did last night where Maldonado got the start behind the plate and Corey Lee, his bat was put in the lineup by utilizing the DH spot. But Maldonado is here and continues to get praise for what he is doing with the pitching staff. I know you guys don't care because you only want to see the batting results, and that's fine. I'm not saying you should feel any different. Martin Maldonado is hitting well under 100. He has been terrible at the plate this year. But hearing it from the people who make the decisions, they like what he does in terms of working with the pitchers, and so he is not going to be someone who is completely boxed out of this. He's on the team, and he is part of that catching mix. Again, I think you've seen the biggest change, which is Corey Lee has eaten into that playing time pretty well. I think at the beginning of the year, it was supposed to be Corey Lee once every 5 days, and you've seen a change in that. I don't think it's going to change any more drastically unless either Martin Maldonado or the White Sox decide that has been enough.
It looks like, if I just looked up the stats, 41 games for Corey Lee, 31 for Martin Maldonado, and that has been mostly of late. So I don't know if some of those are DH starts, et cetera, but
15 starts at catcher for Lee in the month of May, 12 for Maldonado in the month of May.
Perfect.
Corey Lee with the additional pinch hits, DH performances. He has 68 plate appearances in the month of May. Martin Maldonado at 38, so 30 more plate appearances.
And also, too, Maldonado usually bats last. Corey Lee usually, at least lately, has been batting in the top half of the batting order.
Right.
So more at bats there is what I'm saying. Yeah.
So,
yeah, I'm fine with how Pedro's doling out the playing time right now for those catchers because he sees it.
And I think Corey could be a person that might just get sunk if he gets too much overexposure. We saw him really struggle in his first time up at Major League Baseball. I am fine to not overexpose him. I think the real thing isn't Corey Lee playing time. I think he's playing enough. I think it's just Martin Maldonado being the other option for me at this point, because I know he wasn't brought here for his bat. I know he wasn't brought here to hit home runs, but it's like his OPS was like 600 with the Astros, and now it's half that. Like, it's just getting to a point that's just truly horrendous and offensive to watch.
Oh, it's there. It's not getting there. It's there.
Well, no, I know. It's just I
don't know who should be offended by it. It's not like, it's not like every strikeout comes with like a personal insult, but
I'm deeply offended.
Strike three, and also you're a terrible dancer.
Yeah. I think so.
I mean, it could be a thing where, numbers are usually normalized. Maybe the last half of the year, Martin Maldonado is on fire, and so his numbers become what they were in his major league career. I doubt it, but usually that's what happens. Your numbers get better, and they find their level. Okay, because he can't be this bad.
Yes, he is.
Can't be.
Go ask the Cubs guys how bad Yan Gomes is. 37-year-old catchers.
Even I can say that he's pretty bad.
There you go. Thank you, Sarah. He's pretty bad.
Not my favorite Cubs player.
Yan Gomes, the first Brazilian player ever for Major League Baseball.
A trendsetter.
And you know who the second one was?
Pioneer.
My guy.
White Sox pitcher, Andre Rienzo.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Question 2 from Will. Will Getz ever consider stepping down, or is he just too incompetent / out of his depth / blindly loyal to actually do something about this madness?
He's got a job.
Next question.
Yeah, he's got a job for life. I wouldn't step down. Like, he saw what Rick and Kenny did, and he's like, I at least got 10 years of this. I'm good.
Yeah. This year, 2024, does not matter. It's about building a winner. So the fact that 2024 is being taken seriously is maybe the mistake, because 2024 clearly is not being taken seriously by the Chicago White Sox, in my opinion. I don't think that this is a year that they're trying to be competitive, especially with the way that the first half of the season unfolded with Moncada, Eloy, and Robert getting injured. If those guys weren't injured and there was still this performance, maybe we would see something to the effect of Pedro getting removed, or something along those lines if he had those players. But this season was down the drain the second Moncada hit right before the dirt before first base in Cleveland. Like, that's when that true fork in the knife or fork in the back was stuck into the White Sox, at least how I feel. Let's go to our pal AJ, who is also out at the takeover on Monday. I think it's pretty obvious that in 2025, the White Sox are not going to be in serious contention, much like the way the Blackhawk guys are always looking forward at guys like Draisaitl reaching free agency in 2026 as potential targets. Let's do the same. The 2026 free agent class includes Vlad Jr., Bo Bichette, JT Realmuto, Luis Arraez, Hyesung Kim, Josh Naylor, Kyle Tucker, Kyle Schwarber, Austin Hayes, Cedric Mullins, Dylan Cease, Chris Bassett, Mitch Keller, Ranger Suarez, Jose Urquidy, Framber Valdez, Nathan Eovaldi, and more, who are 1 to 2 players that you believe are both realistic and good fits for if Getz managed to pry open Jerry's checkbook in the 2025-2026 offseason.
Realistic, none. Ones
right,
I
thanks,
want.
sir. Grand opening, great closing.
Yeah, one that I want is Kyle Tucker. He's, despite how bad the Astros are, he's one of the best players, if not the best player in the American League right now. So I would want him, and he would man right field well for the White Sox, as we need that.
He's going to get a lot of money.
Oh, all the money in the world.
And that's the thing, too. Like, if you're going to spend money, and a lot of money, just spend money in 2025 and go after Juan Soto, who is younger and better. And no offense to Kyle Tucker, but I would just rather go out, and if you're going to spend an absurd amount of money on a baseball player, go spend on the best one possible. And it's just obviously not going to be in the White Sox realm of possibility. I think that none of those guys are truly realistic. Maybe Bassett. I feel like Chris Bassett could be Jamie Moyer-esque. Like, he might just be pitching until he's 46 with his, 9 pitch types. He might just be a guy, Rich Hill-esque, but from the right side. Why not bring Chris Bassett for a reunion tour? Maybe Marcus Semien comes along with them. But I really feel like...
He'll still be under contract with the Rangers, I think.
Yeah, I feel like Chris Bassett, 38 years old or whatever he'll be, gets an $8 million contract with the 2026 White Sox. They'll need starting pitcher innings, so I'll go Chris Bassett because even though I know I'm typically pessimistic, all those guys either seem not good enough, like Vlad Guerrero Jr., or guys that I don't really want to give long-term contracts to, like Bo Bichette, and everyone else is kind of like not true game changers. So, I mean, I would love to sign Dylan Cease, but also you had him. You could have tried to extend him, and then you traded him. So, I mean, maybe you get Drew Thorpe, Jairo Iriarte, and Samuel Zavala and Dylan Cease on the same team, but I don't think that's going to happen.
Complete set.
So I would love, I guess, Dylan Cease, but that's not going to happen. All right, to wrap it up, Brandon's going to ask, who are the players currently in the farm system that we can expect to see in Chicago after the trade deadline? Additionally, what do you expect the starting lineup and pitching rotation to look like, assuming all the players from Vinny's article are dealt? So let's fill this out. Benintendi in left field, he'll be there. Robert in center field.
Most likely.
He'll be there. First base, Vaughn/Sheets. Obviously, Sheets can go out to right field. Maybe Gavin gets some interest, but I don't think he was actually in your article.
Okay.
Right?
Probably not.
Okay. So
That's several articles ago. You guys are keeping me honest.
We'll keep Sheets around. Second base, Nicky Lopez. Maybe Jacob Gonzalez gets if he continues to hit well in Double-A.
I don't think Jacob Gonzalez is coming up to the major leagues this year.
I mean, he's advanced. He's 23 years old, and I know that he had a really rough rookie year, but it seems like they fixed his swing, and he's been on fire. I mean,
he just got to Double-A.
I know, but I mean, that's May. You'll have June and July. I'm just saying,
to go 2 full levels
coming to the trade deadline. But I mean, I've heard, at least from what you've reported about what Paul Janisch and Chris Getz have said, it seems like Birmingham is becoming the launching place. So I guess because Jacob Gonzalez is at Birmingham, and Brooks Baldwin seems like a guy that probably needs a little bit more development, a guy that was a former first rounder that played in a very difficult SEC. Maybe you have Montgomery and Gonzalez at shortstop and second base if that's going to be the shortstop and second base for the 2025 team. Maybe Gonzalez right after the trade deadline's a little bit too seriously, but after the Birmingham season ends, you see Jacob Gonzalez at some point?
I don't think so with Gonzalez. I think Montgomery is the guy to circle. I don't even think you see Edgar Caro at the major league level this year.
I don't think so
But I think Montgomery, and I guess now we can include Bryan Ramos, right? Because he's a guy, obviously he's been here already, but he's a guy who's going to be spending some time at AAA, maybe all the way to the trade deadline, depending on how he does down there. Obviously, we had the conversation, or we've had it several times already, about him and Moncada coexisting on the same infield. Again, that's a total we'll see, but I think Montgomery's the guy you got to circle. If you are talking about guys who are at Double-A right now, I'd look on the pitching side. I would not be surprised to see Drew Thorpe here before the end of the year. That would be the guy that I would think could make that double jump, so to speak. But they've got a few guys there that they can look at and see if they deserve some late season starts.
Oh, we gotta go. So I gotta go.
All right. I guess the pitchers. I don't think Clevenger is going to be around. I think Clevenger is going to stick around after the trade deadline, especially with his injury. You brought up Thorpe. Nastrini and Cannon obviously makes sense to fill out the rotation.
Nastrini's here now, but yeah,
right.
Yeah.
I think he'll stick around, and then Cannon at some point, if he got the call up once, he'll probably get the call up again, and then Crochet is really just the big question mark on if he gets traded or not, because then I think you got 5 pitchers right there to fill out the rotation. If Clevenger's not here, hey, call up the 20-year-old Noah Schultz. I brought up the argument before. In all of minor league baseball, there have been only 10 pitchers to have a strikeout to walk percentage over 30%. There's names like Chris Paddock, Joe Ryan, Colin Poche, Andrew Painter, Nick Lodolo, Phil Maton on here. Some true major leaguers on this list. So Noah Schultz has a K minus walk rate over 30%. Maybe he's worth a shot, but maybe, just maybe that happens at the trade deadline. That's going to do it, though, for the CHGO White Sox podcast. We've got the Blackhawks crew coming up. That's Vinnie Duber, our CHGO White Sox beat writer. You can follow him at Vinnie Duber. That's Herb Lawrence. You can follow him at Ecknerwall23. He's our CHGO White Sox community leader. I'm Sean Anderson. You can follow me at Sean_W_Anderson. Hit that thumbs up button. Thank you very much to Sarah for producing the show. Thank you to everyone for hanging out with us. And we will talk to you on Sunday for a White Sox postgame show. Goodbye.
We all silly like the mayor.